I was only gone like an hour.
You're joking.
No. But see, Lauren Graham is so wonderful. She has faith in the cast and everyone. And she goes, Emily's got it. Let's just shoot it. And she was right.
You do got it.
I do got it.
Yeah. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Legendz Podcast. I'm your host, Nora, in case you don't know or forgot. You have no idea how excited I am to chat to my next guest. She's an incredible actress who has made an impact on my life more than she knows. She's a legend on stage and on screen. Emily has graced our screens for 7+ years in the iconic role of Mrs. Kim on Gilmore Girls. She's been on Grey's Anatomy, General Hospital, in feature films like Party Boat.Take, The 10, Shop Girl, Minority Report, and more. She is the recipient of 5 Dramalogue Awards, a Garland Award for Outstanding Performance, the East-West Players Creevey Award, and the list goes on. Welcome, Emily Kuroda.
Hi, Nora.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming on. This is so crazy for me. I've been watching you on screen for about almost 20 years now. Crazy to actually speak to you in person. You're in LA right now, right? How's everything going?
It's, because I've been doing theater for the last couple of years, and probably won't be theater until next year. And that's what principally I've been doing for the last couple of years. So I'm home. I'm doing just a heck of a lot of readings and workshops, and it's great in a way because, I've been working all over the United States. And so I've been in Boston 3 times. I'm doing 2 workshops in New York right now, one in San Francisco. So it's kind of good, and one in Seattle because before the travel, where I am would have been prohibitive. But so in a way, I'm lucky that I am working so much because we're all doing it by Zoom now. Obviously,
theater, you have to be there in person. So how much has that impacted you now that with COVID that you can't have audiences? Is it mostly just workshops?
We're doing a lot online. We're still trying to figure it out. It's not the same at all. But we're struggling, and at least we're meeting, we're trying to create art, we're working on scripts. So we'll be ready when the pandemic lifts so we can actually do a full production.
Nice. I mean, I want to track back to the beginning. How did you go into acting? I know I read that it's something you wanted to pursue, but then you were told, you couldn't. And then so you went into teaching, right? You were studying teaching.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that and just the kind of the initial beginnings?
Oh, yeah. So, they told me because, I'm Asian American that I couldn't act. I was at Fresno State. And I said, well, okay. That was the days I didn't buck the system. So, I was getting my teaching degree, and then East-West Players came to our college, and I saw Asian Americans acting. And I said, wait. So that summer, I moved down to LA, and I started taking classes. I got cast in a show, and that was in 1978, and I have been here ever since. My teachers were wrong.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's amazing how, why they said because you were Asian American, you wouldn't make it?
There was no roles. There weren't any roles, actually.
Right.
So they were, in a way that was, in a way they were right, but I made a living.
No, of course. So how did that change? What really motivated you? It was you joined East-West Players, right? Which is an Asian American theater group. Is that correct? Yeah. That's really well known in LA.
Yeah. So I was just studying with them, and I was working. I worked at a bank for a little bit we did at East-West Players back then. We did everything. We stage managed. We didn't write. But we stage managed. We did props, lights, built the sets, acted, and that was the best training ground one could ever ask for. And so, I wasn't worried about working or making money in acting. I was just enjoying the love of performing, and of creating theater. So, and I just so happened to start working, and I just so happened to be able to quit my straight jobs, but that wasn't my goal. My goal wasn't to make money or to get a TV show. It was just to perform, to create theater, to create art.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also great that you got to you got to do the other roles. I don't know. When I was in film school, I was studying editing and directing, and we had 2 main semesters where we would do our classes pertaining to our majors and our minors, and then we'd have a third semester where over that course of 3 months we would create short films, and we'd have to produce them from beginning to end all by ourselves. And one of the things was you had to have a certain amount of roles. I think you had to be a part of a minimum of 6 films, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So you had to fulfill your minimum requirement pertaining to your own role in terms of like editing or directing, but then you'd also have to take on different roles throughout different crews. Like I did catering, I did cinematography as well, camera operating, and some other things. And it's amazing what you learn by doing it, and you have so much more respect having that well-rounded outlook on each of the roles on set or on stage.
I think that's the best education.
Yeah,
I'd love to see some of your films.
I'll send you some links, and I'm working on some. Yeah, for sure. I actually, straight out of film school, I started working as first assistant editor on an indie film, and I got to do a lot of the editing, and it's crazy how much is changed from, what's shot to what's left on the cutting room floor.
I think editing is one of the most useful tools, actually, regardless of what you want to do in the process.
Yeah.
One of my teachers in acting, he said, "Emily, think like an editor. It will help your acting. It will help you get in the film and not end up on the floor."
Yeah.
And he was right. Directing everybody, it would,
I think so too. I think it's. I was like one of my mentors who worked on. He was an assistant editor for Apocalypse Now and for Cold Mountain, and he was actually the lead editor for this project. And he taught me, a film is edited. I mean, obviously multiple times, but mainly like 3 times. It's directed 3 times. It's in pre-production, and then the production, and then post-production. So it's like a whole new form of directing, and like the film is kind of rebirthed a lot of times because there's so many things that change or that you don't expect, or little things that you thought would work together, but the scene doesn't work and it's left out. And it's amazing to see. It's crazy. And then that's helped me in so many different aspects and so many different jobs, just to think like when I'm directing a short film, I now like think how that would cut together.
Yeah.
So,
and then you're saving a lot of time and energy by doing that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you actually, what do you look for in a role? And from going from script to screen, what do you see, or script to stage? What do you see? What's the biggest difference you see, and what's something that you've learned from that?
You mean from getting the script initially and then performing it on stage?
Yeah.
Okay, on stage it's a little different than on film, because on stage we have the luxury of having a rehearsal. So
Right.
I usually read the script, do a homework, of course, on place, relationship, need kind of thing, the background of where we are, all that stuff. And then when you go into the room, you kind of throw all that away, and then you just listen and watch your fellow actors and listen to your director and writer, and just kind of form it from nothing. And that's how I work on stage. On film, it's a whole different thing, because you film out of sequence, a lot of times depending on how big your budget is. But like TV has no money, so basically when you go into audition, that's it. That's you got to figure, well, that's what you do there is what they'll want, probably, because they don't want to deal with you that much, I don't think. So you've got to be a little bit more prepared. You have to come in with more concrete choices. And like a friend of mine, she got this big movie. She was all excited. So she went into the table read. She's a theater person like me. So she went in and she didn't make strong choices. She just wanted to like feel out the room and stuff like that. And the next day, there was a casting notice out for her role. And she was like, "Oh my God." It's because she was marking it. She wasn't making strong choices. She ended up doing the project, but she and all of her friends learned that when you're doing film or TV, unless you're the star, which we aren't, you can't afford to market. We have to go in with clear choices and focused and just do 110% all the time.
For example, for a role like Mrs. Kim, that's put a stamp in TV history as an iconic role for me, because it wasn't one of the main actors, but it left that effect. It left that, like, if you say Mrs. Kim, everybody knows who that is. Uh-huh. So how do you go into a role like that and leave a strong mark?
That one I think made no choices on. Well, when I auditioned, I thought it was I used a Korean accent, and then Amy told me not to do that, just to do it straight. I said, okay. And she told me she was like a general. I said, all right. So from there, Mrs. Kim was born. And the thing is, the writing was so good. And if you have the luxury of doing a character over 7 years, the writers start understanding your rhythms. The relationships are being formed. Can't help it. I shot 45 episodes. The strongest thing about Mrs. Kim was that how much she loved her daughter. More than anything else, clearly, in the entire world. Not everybody got that, but that's why it was so easy, because I never felt mean. I never felt abusive. I always felt like I was doing a pretty good job as a mother. And yet, over the 7 years, I conceded a lot. I grew as well, which was wonderful to be able to have a real human being that's malleable and can adjust to the situations in life.
They grew the character. They did. It was incredible to see, because you saw her as, the general, but you also saw her in her soft moments of, for example, when her daughter runs away. That one night, she gets drunk after, goes to a gig, and you see the whole fire department and everyone and her community in the background, and she's so worried to see like where she is. You show that, and even just the wedding scene when her daughter gets married, and how soft she is, and having even Mrs. Kim's mother there. And see the dynamic between the two. It was it's such a complex character, and so many layers to that, to really show, she's human.
Yeah. I really like the mother scene, because she is human. She was, she doesn't always practice what she preaches. Which I loved,
But nobody does.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
And Lane's kids are going to lie to her, and hey, that's life.
Exactly. Yeah. That's crazy. So Amy Sherman Palladino told you went in wanting to do like a Korean accent. Is that what you got from the
I didn't want to do it. I just was so trained. I was like a trained dog. Because being older, playing moms from different countries, you're just used to using an accent. Right. So I was just blown away when she said, "What are you doing? No, don't do that." Yeah. So, thank you.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. It's going beyond the stereotypes. For example, for that character, how much input do you have?
None.
None?
No. I guess I could have, but I didn't feel like I had to.
Yeah.
Everything exceeded my expectations on a character that I would be doing for over 7 years. So.
But you did, because you did bring, you are the person who brings the character to life off the page.
But I think over the years too, because Amy was the writer, creator, directed most of them, she was there. She saw what I was doing. So I think without talking, she just started writing things that would fit my rhythms and where I was going with the character just naturally, I like to think, because it felt like we were going in harmony with each other, but we never discussed it. It's just like, where's Mr. Kim? We never discussed it, but it was like a rule. It felt like, it's something that's there that everybody probably has their own story about, but no one ever discussed it on set.
So no one actually asked, where is Mr. Kim?
None of us. Not in the circle. No.
That's
Fans
crazy.
did, but we didn't.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have your own take on that, or is that left in the vault?
It changes. It changes.
I think I heard an interview where he said that he's probably a rock star on tour.
I still think he is. Yeah.
I think it's possible. Lane got it from,
Yeah.
maybe she got it from her
And
dad.
I was in the tambourine band.
Ah, I see it.
And I met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looked like a rock star.
Yeah, I kept waiting. That's the only thing that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for me to like perform with them.
That would have been epic.
Right.
Maybe if there's a revival too, maybe they can add in a scene where you're just rocking on stage. That would be the best thing ever.
Yeah. I'd be with Keiko because I'm percussion on my tambourine.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Do you have any memorable moments from filming that series?
Oh, there's just so many. I think the most memorable though is that having worked with a wonderful group of people over 7 years, you get to be like family. We still see each other a lot, some of us,
Yeah.
It wasn't like a job. It was like home. It was really, really enjoyable to go to work, except for learning all those lines. That was hard.
Very fast too.
Very fast.
I was always in shock. Like I think I've seen every season, no joke, about 9, 10 times.
Yeah.
I watch it. I rewatch every season every year. It's just incredible acting and incredible. I mean, all around the shop, like the writing and the acting is just insane. And the way it's shot, everything.
My friend came in and she played my sister, I think, my cousin, my sister. And so she came in and she's done a lot of TV. And then we did a rehearsal. And then they were talking to her a little bit. Then she came back to me. She goes, "Emily, they want me to talk faster." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I can't talk any faster." I said, "That's what we do here." So, she goes, "I don't like this. I'm not having fun."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
How many times do you guys rehearse scenes? Or did you rehearse scenes?
Not many sometimes. At least, no, not many. Unless there was a camera angle they're trying to get. Because after you do a character for so long, it becomes second nature. And the cameramen know you and everybody knows each other. They know how each other, we know how we all work together. And so, no, one time they were ahead of schedule and they were so nice to me. They said, "We'll call you when you come in." I said, "Okay." So I was at home and they said, "Emily, we're ahead of schedule. Come now." I said, "All right." So I went and they said, "Hurry." So I got dressed and luckily I don't have hardly any hair and makeup. So then I went on set. I found out they had already rehearsed without me. So they said, "Okay, rehearsal with Emily." And Lauren goes, "She's got it. Let's just do it." So we did it. It was fine. And then I went home. I was only gone like an hour.
You're joking.
No. But see, Lauren Graham is so wonderful. She has faith in the cast and everyone. And she goes, "Emily's got it. Let's just shoot it." And she was right.
You do got it.
I do got it.
Yeah. I love that. To track back of it, what do you look for when you're looking for a role? What do you look for?
Conflict is always good. Conflict is good. Some depth is good. I'm not good with exposition. It's just boring. I think I'll stop doing it. I can't learn those lines because it's just like, mom, these words have to be said or this episode's not going to make sense. So those are the most difficult. But anything, I say yes to just about everything, and I love just about everything I've done, good or bad.
What are the biggest differences that you've seen from script to screen then, in your experience? Like watching... Is there anything different that usually happens for you that you envision different when you see the final cut?
Usually not, actually.
It's because you've got it. Do you prefer film or TV or a theater?
TV's my least favorite because it's so quick. I love film. Even low budget films can be really fun because it's more collaborative. And it might be me because I am timid by nature. So I might be less timid if I'm not getting paid. And so, it's great though, because I walk in, it's like, I don't want to say that. Can we try this? Can we try that? I'll listen to everybody else too, and I'll try that. It's more of a collaborative effort, and I really enjoy it. Films, on the other hand, you have the luxury of time of rehearsing, of getting to know the people, and just like theater, or just like Gilmore. Gilmore was kind of like a film. It's not like
Yeah.
TV. I don't call Gilmore a TV.
Yeah.
I call Gilmore a 7-year movie.
Yeah. It really was.
It was. But like TV, when you just go in for 10 days or something, um, unless I have a good part, then, I mean, I've been blessed lately when I have some of those things, that the parts have been interesting. But it's those exposition things that drive me nuts. And I said, give them to somebody else.
I was going to say, do you have a pet peeve or anything?
If things bug me, I walk away. One time I said, when is my shot happening? Because everybody around me, it was so cramped, and everybody's just talking so much. So they said, well, you're like 3 scenes out. I said, I'll be at the mall. You call me, I'll come in, I'll walk on set. Trust me, I'll know my lines. So I did that, but
That's hilarious. Yeah, so scheduling.
Scheduling. I mean, here's a little pet peeve. When I am called and I go early or on time, usually early, and I'm the first one there, before makeup, before anybody.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, I have said that to them before. I said, do you know, makeup needs a half hour to set up. So
Yeah.
my call should not be with makeup. It should be a half hour after makeup. So
Well,
that's
even
what
after, like an hour after makeup. 'Cause-
usually, yes.
Yeah.
So
They
if
should
we're
be
gonna
waiting on you. Yeah.
wait
Give
on
me,
me.
yeah. Give me their numbers. I'll call them.
You.
Do you have any advice for any upcoming actors, that you wish you were given when you were starting out?
Well, one piece of advice I was given, it was my acting teacher, Mako. He said to me, first day of acting class, he says, if there's anything else in this entire world that you could possibly do for a living, do it. If not, welcome to acting, because you're opening yourself up to rejection after rejection after rejection of never succeeding, really. I think I have only, and I've done it for so long, I've only succeeded just a very few times. I could probably count the times on my fingers. It's that moment. I don't know if directors have this feeling, or editors, where things just seem to work naturally. And for an actor, it's like you get shivers up your spine, and you're not quite sure what's going on. It's not the third eye that's usually there is shut off, and you're just in the moment. And those times feel like flying. It's wonderful. So I went through the rest of the 40 years just trying to get one of those moments again. And that's what keeps me going. Those magical moments.
I was just about to say, what keeps you going? What's the motivation? So it's the magical moments.
It is.
I agree. Yeah, that's what keeps me going. I'm still pushing towards, obviously, getting a chance to be able to do bigger projects and all
And
that. But
isn't it wonderful to collaborate with people that you respect and you
yes,
admire?
yes,
Oh,
so
I learned
much.
so much from them.
Yeah. Well, even just this right now, for you agreeing, I couldn't believe it. And you were so quick on the response. I was like, I can't believe this. Thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, of course.
Is there anything else that you'd kind of want to touch on in terms of acting as a whole, or
Yeah.
any experiences or any advice?
Yeah. Sometimes you meet these actors and they said, I just want to be a TV star. Those people don't last. They think that acting is the end all be all. So they don't need to learn about history or English or literature or science. When in fact, if you are not a well-rounded person, you are not going to be a well-rounded actor, and odds are you are not going to last that long. So, and people who in pursuit of this dream, of this Hollywood dream, they don't take time to connect with their family, with their upbringing, because they're too busy. Well, they're cutting themselves short, because you get a lot of power from your grandparents, from your parents, from your brothers and sisters, from learning about your history. And so I would encourage young actors to please stay in touch with your family. Ask them questions, learn from them. as well as learning, having a nice, well-rounded education in this world. It will serve you well in the long run. Trust me.
You heard her. Trust Emily. She's got
Yes.
it.
I'm old, I know.
You're also a legend, so everyone's
yeah.
got to listen to you. Emily, thank you so much for coming on. This was so amazing.
Thank you, Nora. I am looking forward to your links.
Yes, I will send them to you. I also forgot to mention, I mean, I'm in Toronto. I know that you've been in Toronto for the first episode of Gilmore Girls was filmed in Toronto, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. Look, connection.
Yes.
It's a sign. No, but I just thought that piece of information was funny. It's basically that Unionville. I'm in the center of Toronto, but Unionville, where it was shot, is probably like a 20-minute drive north from the center.
I was there last year.
Oh, were you?
We had a Gilmore Girls fan fest.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
Yes. I was there for a couple of days.
Is there anyone coming up post-COVID? Anyone in any fan fests in the works?
Oh, I think we're going to Connecticut, though. We're not going to go do Toronto
okay.
again.
All right.
Too bad. I love
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe next time.
Yeah. If I'm in Toronto, I'll look you up, Nora.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Well, it was a privilege to speak to you. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And go follow Emily on her socials at Emily Kuroda. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Legendz Podcast. Thanks, everyone, and see you next time. Thanks, Emily.
Oh, thank you, Nora.